Hare Krishna devotees, welcome to Shloka Day. Today's Shloka is Shloka number 23 of chapter 8. Yatra kale tvanavrittim
Yatra kale tvanavrittim
avrittim chaiva yoginaha
avrittim chaiva yoginah
prayata yanti tam kalam
prayatayanti tam kalam
vakshyami bharatarshabha.
vakshyami bharatarshabha.
Word for word meaning and translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Yatra,
Yatra,
at which,
at which,
kale,
kale,
time,
time,
tu, and anavrittim,
anavrittim,
no return,
no return,
avrittim,
avrittim,
return,
return,
cha,
also,
eva,
eva,
certainly,
certainly,
yoginaha,
yoginah,
different kinds of mystics,
different kinds of mystics,
prayataha,
prayatah,
having departed,
having departed,
yanti,
yanti,
attain,
tam,
that,
that,
kalam,
kalam,
time,
time,
pakshyami,
vakshyami,
I shall describe,
I shall describe,
bharatarshabha,
bharatarshabha,
O best of the Bharatas.
O best of the Bharatas,
Translation, O best of the Bharatas,
O best of the Bharatas,
I shall now explain to you
I shall now explain to you
the different times at which,
the different times at which,
passing away from this world,
passing away from this world,
the yogi does
the yogi does
or does not come back.
or does not come back.
So this begins a new section, the concluding section of the Bhagavad Gita for chapter 8 specifically. So essentially the Lord is going to talk about dying at different times and in different ways. So from 16 to 22 shlokas that we covered in the last few weeks, the Lord talked about how you can remember him by simply understanding that the material world is dukkhalayam ashashvatam, and the spiritual world is the exact opposite of that. So here from shloka 23 to 28, the Lord is going to specifically talk about how remembering him through the process of bhakti yoga is easier than trying to attain him through the process of Ashtanga yoga. So Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport that the unalloyed devotees of the Supreme Lord, who are totally surrendered souls, do not care when they leave their bodies or by what method. They leave everything in Krishna's hands and so easily and happily return to Godhead. So Srila Prabhupada is explaining whatever Krishna is about to speak in the following verses do not apply to the devotees. The devotees do not worry about how they're going to die, when they're going to die. They leave it all in the Lord's hands because that's really what the word surrender means. You surrender to the Lord's will. Hence, Prabhupada is saying, we don't care when we leave our bodies. But the Ashtanga yogis have to be very precise in their practice. They have to leave at a certain time of the year, at a certain time of the day, in a certain way. Otherwise, everything that they've practiced, they risk not achieving success. But those who are not unalloyed devotees means you are only practicing bhakti, kevala bhakti. That means if you are not practicing kevala bhakti and who depend instead on such methods of spiritual realization as karma yoga, jnana yoga, and hatha yoga, must leave the body at a suitable time in order to be sure of whether or not they will return to the world of birth and death. So for them, those who follow the other paths, death, it's a risky proposition. If they don't do it perfectly, they risk coming back into this samsara, this process of birth, death, old age, and disease. If the yogi is perfect, he can select the time and situation for leaving this material world. But if he's not so expert, his success depends on his accidentally passing away at a certain suitable time. The suitable times at which one passes away and does not come back are explained by the Lord in the next verse. Prabhupada writes, according to Acharya Baladeva Vidya Bhushan, the Sanskrit word kala used here in this verse refers to the presiding deity of time. So, going a little bit further to give you a preview of what the Lord is going to talk about. Essentially, there are two paths at the time of death: the path of light or the path of darkness. The path of light is essentially symbolic about knowledge, and the path of darkness is symbolic of ignorance. So in the following verses, Krishna will talk about the bright daylight, the moonlit fortnight of Shukla Paksh, or the bright ascending moon, and the Uttarayan, the northern course of the sun. These are all considered the time of light. So the God-conscious souls who are detached from the worldly attachments, they have to make sure that they depart by the path of light. Then they can achieve God. Then they get liberation. But those who are ignorant, who are still attached to material desires and entangled with this whole concept of I, me, and mine, they have essentially forgotten their relationship with the Lord. And because they are disconnected from the Lord, irregardless of how pious they may be, because they are disconnected from the Lord, all these souls will depart only by one path, which is called the path of darkness. Hence, they have to continue the cycle of birth and death. But in between, there are some people who may have accumulated some pious results as a result of following some amount of prescribed duties and responsibilities as per the Vedic scriptures. So what happens to such people? They go to the celestial abodes, the moon, planets, and higher. But then, since the moon is also part of the material world, therefore that is also temporary. So when their pious credits are exhausted, they have to return to the earthly planets to take birth again. So essentially, the Lord in the following shlokas is going to talk about two paths: the path that is called Devayan and the path that is called Pitrayan. These are the only two paths that you can pass away in. So that's the essence of this particular shloka, where the Lord is saying that depending on when you pass away, it determines whether you come back to me or you come back to this material universe.
If you like our videos, please subscribe to our channel and turn on the bell notification. If you'd like to join our classes every day, please check the details in the description section of this video. We look forward to serving you.